Hello, welcome back to the Unshakable Soul podcast. I'm your host, Sophia with Masikat, and I'm so happy to have you here. Today is all about a closing and a wrap-up of 2025. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the energetics that we collectively went through in the year of the snake, and what we are actually stepping into come mid-February next year, 2026, with the year of the fire horse. I'll also share a couple of tender personal truths that surfaced for me this year. And I'll also end with a couple of practical suggestions to ground all these insights into alignment in your everyday life, so that we prepare ourselves for this forward momentum we're all going to be coming into. So in good Capricorn form, we'll end with some structure, some stability, some foundations on which we can grow. Okay, so we're closing off a year. For a lot of us, this has been a very tender year. The snake, as the animal even gives off, for a lot of us, this shedding, it really invited us to shed. So just as the snake sheds its own skin to reveal a newer skin beneath, so too we were offered this invitation through the whole year to shed the old. And plus, since it was a universal year 9, which really means culmination and endings, it was even a deeper shed. Okay? The snake doesn't rush the shed, nor does it cling on to the old skin. It releases layer by layer, trusting that what's underneath is more alive and truer, and fits better the version of who they are. Now you may say, the snake doesn't have that consciousness to know, but we do. The thing with the snake, though, is that, it doesn't have the high level consciousness that we have, but a lot of us humans get caught up and stuck for all the ways that we cling on, for most of the part, far too long than necessary. So we keep on repeating these patterns, and we keep on reliving the same lessons, when the snake is just like, I'm shedding the shit, revealing what's real, peace, I'm gone. For humans, not for everybody, life initiates us into the shed. And for a lot of us, it's based around relationships, a loss of a loved one, perhaps a medical diagnosis. Okay? And a deeper layer of the snake and of this year, because maybe we're just staying on the surface level, like, oh my gosh, it's been so difficult and emotional and up and down. We can look at that on the surface level, but if we've done the work, if we took ourselves in the depths, and if we said, okay, I'm going in, I'm going to see what's here, what's being triggered. If we've done the shadow work, we've cleared the cobwebs, what we're gifted with is wisdom. It's clarity on what truly matters, on what your truth is right now at this point in your life. And from that place, only from that place, when you've made enough space and silenced enough noise to listen to truth, can you take aligned action instead of reacting based off of wounded self or based off of fear, based off of needing to prove your point, defending yourself. the snake gives us this wisdom and intuition at its highest level. It offers us the feminine path of awakening, which is a descent. And I've spoken about this in other episodes. But we need to be able to go within, go to our depths, to move the energy, to feel the anger, to feel the sadness, to feel it long enough that we literally get cracked open, that we loosen the body armor, that we enter into the pain body. And it's not about staying in the pain. It's realizing that within the protective cocooning, this armor that we've created, is our deepest longing. And the double-edged sword here, or the irony, is that what I deeply long for, I also deeply fear. So you can see how this could get really confusing and create a big inner conflict really quickly. Okay. So again, to recap, this year invited us into deepening into ourselves. This deep feminine gnosis, this intuition, and also into our emotions. Remember, to get to the intuitive part, to get to come from, to move through life from a place of deep wisdom, we need to go through the emotions, the emotional layers, or else we're reacting from anxiety. So the snake slithered its way down, coming to our root, the base survival mechanisms that we have been unconsciously running by. Fear of being seen, fear of being too much. These are classic. They're ingrained in our DNA. They come with our lineage. And of course, you can choose to not see that. But it becomes even harder when you have the self-awareness to go backwards. Doesn't mean it's going to be easier going forward, but when you are so aware of the patterns, of the beliefs, of the behaviors that have been protecting you, keeping you small, you'll become frustrated when you keep on seeing the same patterns and repeating it over and over again. So for a lot of us, we're on this path, like, okay, I want to transform, I want to change, but this whole year has been shedding and then clinging, shedding, clinging, this da-da-da-da. And we're coming to a place, and maybe feeling for you, if this is true, that you're like, ugh. There comes a point where you're like, enough. Like, I'm done with my own bullshit. Or I'm done with putting up with this shit that's not mine to carry. So maybe for us, our boundaries got really strong throughout the year. Or you started feeling into your own boundaries if you had none before. Perhaps for others, it's the opposite. Maybe you had a really, really big shield and armor. You're like, no, nobody coming. And you started to learn how to, allowing yourself to receive support, touch, connection. I know for me, that was a truth for me. That was the practice. Really good boundaries. But it was a bit harder to connect intimately with others. But my practice was, well, how can I give myself what I desire is to connect intimately with me? What does that look like on my day-to-day? Okay. So here we're honoring the tenderness of all the experiences that happened to us in 2025. The uncomfort we were in, the revelations that came up, the ways we wanted to hide, and we're also honoring the ways that we were courageous in the face of perhaps a situation where you would have caved in, people pleased, try to be a good girl, whatever it is, overperform, improve yourself and chose differently. That small micro action builds over time. It builds trust, the most important. It builds courage and confidence. So this year is really where truth demanded to be felt. A lot of emotional alchemy. No bypassing, not intellectualizing it. I can say this because I love going into the brain, into the psychology things, but it was really about the embodiment. Because you can be very self-aware and know all the patterns and know all the concepts, but if you're not willing to feel it in the body, because the body's the densest form and it takes the longest to transform. If I'm not willing to feel it in the body, it will only change through my affirmations and my beliefs, which are very easily confused and swayed and kind of like clouds. They come and go and you get, no, what is it again? No, I don't know. You're still in the mental realm. You haven't felt it in your bones. And transformation, the shed, is not meant to be hard. The reason why we feel it being so hard is because we resist. Again, I gave the analogy, like the snake, yes, it has a lower level of consciousness per se than human beings, but it follows its natural process. It's like, yeah, I shed my skin and so what? And that's it. But us with our beautiful mind, we're like, oh my gosh, what do you mean? Like, I'm not this person anymore. I'm not a mom anymore. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not the good daughter anymore. Like, I don't know. Wait, I have boundaries now? Like, what does that mean? I'm going to lose connection. Oh my God. Just that energy, like, just, whoa. So it's a deep moment of like honoring the part of you that's afraid, right? And again, meeting yourself on that edge, on that threshold, and being like, I choose differently. And maybe for you it means, and for a lot of us, I choose to stop abandoning myself. To stop denying my needs. To start suppressing my voice. To stop dimming my light. And let me remind you, it's great to listen to the podcast, to read the books, right? To go to the workshops, to do the masterclasses, to even do long programs and trainings. I've done it all. I've done a lot of it. But I realized the shift happens when I allow myself to feel all the ways that I've been living a lie. For me, my transformation, maybe it's different for you, has come in the deep alchemical realm of shedding through my body, my breath, through sound, through reconnecting with this deep primal essence, this animalistic nature that hid within me and all the various archetypes that were so dormant in me because I thought they were not good. They wouldn't please mommy or daddy. That they were stupid, not valuable to their eyes. So I had to realize all the ways I abandoned myself. And that process, yeah, you can journal about it, but if it's not embodied and you don't feel it, feel the energy move out, then it's just going to create more confusion and overwhelm in your mind. And you may find yourself attracting the same scenarios over and over again. This is why the embodied aspect is so important for transformation. Because your energy, if you've gone through the depths, if you've done the alchemical process, turning lead to gold, which is basically alchemizing your pain, your anger, your fear, your guilt, your shame into love and acceptance, then your energy shifts. The way you meet the world shifts. The way you speak shifts. The way you look at people shift. Your presence shifts and changes. And this is when you can experience more magic and miracles in your life. Because you attract the right people in your space. You're not distracted trying to run around and do everything. A lot of us want to be more present with our loved ones and more connected. But how present and loving are you with you? And maybe I'm coming off harsh, but this year really brought up truth. And truth is, for the most part, hard to swallow, hard to look at, hard to hear, and deeply liberating if we choose to allow ourselves to feel it. And allow ourselves to shed the truth that we adopted for X amount of years that is actually not our truth. Okay. Let's just take a deep breath here. Exhale with a sigh. I want to share with you a realization I had over the year. A deep truth that I knew all along for many more years before this, but this year particularly, it came in like a wrecking ball. Shout out to Miley Cyrus. And this was the acknowledgement of me trying to force things to happen. Trying to push things, trying to rush things. Noticing where I was trying to stay busy and avoid actually sitting with what was actually moving through me. And I realized it doesn't matter how much I'm creating or doing or pushing. Like, I was never settled, even though I love what I do. Like, I never felt like this, like, I could never rest. I could never feel as though I could lean back and actually enjoy fully my walks in nature or the encounters I had. I was always 50 steps ahead. And I realized, wow, how much anxiety had a hold on me. And I realized where it came from. From my mom, from my grandmother, from my dad, from all these things. And again, it wasn't pointing blame at them. I never even spoke to them about it. I was just observing. Whoa. And realizing how activated I was. And I had to acknowledge and realize and decide this is not how I want to live, not how I want to live my life. And that brought me into the, okay, and what if I chose differently? What if I lit that candle and actually sat with what's actually coming up? And what came up was a lot of grief. First was anger. I was so mad. I was mad at my mom. I was mad at the universe. I was mad at life. Ultimately, I was mad at myself for feeling as though my boundaries were being crossed. For feeling unacknowledged in my authenticity. Right? And then there comes a moment, and this is not only one time, this was multiple times. And they became easier and easier the more I'm like, and we're going within. Yes. Poof. There's always a break open moment where the heart is revealed. Where you've moved through enough gunk and mud that your lotus is rising to meet your heart. And the heart, I found clarity. that resonated so deeply and that linked everything from the past 9 years together, which is a longing to belong with myself, in my body, to my truth, to life, to a community that sees me, that walks with me, that we walk together. I felt so alone, but ultimately I realized that was an illusion, and I was actually isolating myself for many years. Yeah, it's tough when you come to realize that you've been the one that was causing you the most suffering all along. It's easy to get in the woe is me, I feel like a victim, or like the self-flagellating, like, you're so stupid, why do you do this? But really the invitation here is inviting gentleness. And again, this like compassion of like, okay. Because ultimately I was speaking in those moments to a smaller version of myself that needed to feel love, to be loved unapologetically and unconditionally, to truly feel seen, to feel as though her voice mattered. And I wasn't going to go run to my mom and say like, you didn't give me this and give it to me now. No. I chose to take responsibility and become the mom I wish I had. And to be honest, I had the perfect mom for my soul's journey here. Because through her, I learned to love me wholeheartedly. But that truth and that moment of breaking open, if I wasn't willing to intentionally bring myself into that space and not resist actually feeling the pain, then I may not be here right now sharing this with you. I may be still fighting with my mom and trying to defend myself, trying to force things to happen, trying to control a situation. All the patterns I used to do, control what I eat, control the movements and exercises, and like overexert myself and just undernourish. That was a pattern for almost a decade. And now I look back and I'm like, wow. Of course I'm not perfect, but the way my relationship has shifted with food, with life, with my mom, is a direct reflection of the new relationship I've been cultivating with myself, which ultimately its foundation is unconditional love and acceptance. That's it. But to get to there, I had to go through a lot of cobwebs, of feeling undeserving and not good enough. And feel for you what came up for you in this year. Maybe there's a quiet grief of realizing how often you abandon yourself in the name of productivity, approval, success, whatever that means for you. So the shift really, if I can summarize it this way, it's instead of trying to seek approval or validation, which was what my little girl always wanted from her mom, I realized that, first of all, that's never going to happen. And the only person I need approval from and validation is myself. And an extension of me is God, or the universe, or source. The only witness I need. So it was less about the rah-rah, look at me, and it's more about the embodiment, which I'm going to bring it back to so simple: presence. You know when you walk into a room and like you see somebody, or a person walks into a room and like automatically there's like this magnetism, or like everybody shuts up and there's just like this wave of calm that comes? Like, that is embodiment. Nothing was said, there's only presence. There's an aura that is felt. Dogs have this too. You know, some dogs, they sniff and they like each other. Same dog, different dog though that he encounters or she encounters. Rah, 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 rah. Interesting. They probably have their own felt sense of energy too. So when I realized that I was trying to put myself out there in a way that wasn't really serving my body, my mind, I was causing me more anxiety, more stress, I leaned back and really was like, wait a second, what am I trying to prove? Like, what am I seeking here? And I had to realize that, like, I was trying to measure my worth on the amount of likes I had, the comments, the signups, the external applauses, whatever. Trying to, hello, here I am. Make a splash in the ocean. When actually it was coming back to, do I feel worthy to receive these people, these clients? Do I feel worthy to birth this program? Do I feel worthy to say yes to this partnership? Do I feel worthy for this compliment? Like, they could be small things, and I realized I didn't feel worthy. So a lot of the growth I went through, especially in the last year, as I rebranded to Alchemia Embodied Healing Arts, and I continue growing my business, yes, there's been expansion. I did my first retreat, I did my first online program, but there was also this realization, I'm gonna have to shift the way I'm building this because it's not sustainable. So I started anchoring into a new way of not only building my business, it's directly related to how I live my life. Because my business is an extension of me. I like bring you along with me in my journey of life. And the way I've been practicing and anchoring into is this way of living that's more attuned to my own rhythm, that honors my feminine, that honors my masculine. That the foundation of how I move through life is anchored in from self-worth and acceptance. I am not too much. I have a lot of expressions and I love them all. And I don't need to do more. I don't need to prove my worth by how much I do. Instead, it's coming from this devotional space of being in service to the collective conscious rising. But that service, I have to drink myself. And that's what I devote myself to every single day of my life. Drinking my own medicine, drinking my own nectar, tasting the sweet nectar of life coursing through my whole body. And sharing that so that you can also connect with your own medicine. We all have medicine. Okay, so to summarize, the more I tried to force something into being, it looked as though the more I was repelling it. But when I started shifting, let's see if I practice this art of being So if you look at the feminine being, masculine doing, shifting more to a feminine way of living, there is magic that happens. I begin to magnetize. And I'm just only scratching the surface of the potency of this power. Okay? The essence is really coming into the body and living from a place of deep attunement and honoring of your own rhythms, of your own cycles, honoring your pace, honoring your own unfolding, knowing that you are always on time. Because time for me has been a huge source of stress. There's not enough time. But then I was like, oh, but there is divine timing. There is perfect timing for me. But I can only tune into that after having reconnected in my body, move the cobwebs, because my emotions will distort the channel, the intuitive guidance coming from within. Move the emotion, come into presence to stillness, and source my actions from a place of truth and clarity. Not because somebody else told me to do something, but because it feels good right here, right now. It doesn't need to make sense. This is the practice that I'm still practicing and will practice to the end of my life. I get the intuitive hit and I act. Because the tendency is analyze, overthink, analysis paralysis, and then I don't end up doing anything, which is a decision itself. So the two biggest words that have come with me along the journey is trust and surrender. Trust in your path, trust your body, trust yourself, trust you know enough, you are enough, and surrender your ego's desire to know. Life is uncertain, life is unknown. Enter into the mystery, enter into the adventure, enter into the dance, and enjoy the ride. Surrender the rigidity. This is the ego. Surrender the ego. The ego wants to know. The ego wants security. No. I have cultivated enough safety in myself to be able to show up authentically. But that wasn't the case years ago. My ego would not surrender. But as I embody more surrender and trust, life just feels as though it's... Things that used to ruffle my feathers are like, oh, okay. I keep my center much more. So then the lofty question came in. What would my life look like if I chose to live from a place of unconditional love, unconditional self-worth, and wholeness? That I have everything I need. I am everything I need. I am the one. It's very different. The way I move through life shifts. And I'll be honest, I slip back. I slip back sometimes where I find myself feeling as though I need to rush or keep up. I'm comparing myself. In those moments, beautiful opportunities to pause, to come within and to just feel that place that is afraid. That wants to be seen. That wants people, hello, remember me. I'm here, I'm afraid. Be with me. And the more I give myself those little moments of connection, the more I build trust. And the more life reveals to me everything that I desire. But I'm coming now from a place of, I don't need anything. And it doesn't mean I'm not acting. There's still action. But the action is aligned with my energy, with the phase that I'm in right now, with my truth. So I used to have all these lists, and now I have no lists. I have my calendar, and that calendar shifts a lot. And there's a beautiful rhythm I have each week and each day that, yes, is a blueprint, a container, but it's not rigid. I offer myself the flexibility depending on how I feel that day. And regardless whether you're an entrepreneur, a consultant, not in a job, or in a 9-to-5, corporate or government, you get to also create your own schedule. And that's why when I work with women that maybe are in government, first thing in the morning, best time to have your practice. Connect in the early hours when the environment outside is the most conducive to forge a deep connection in your body, in your mind, in your heart, with your soul. That's one practice that you can take with you forever. It's that one, your morning practice. The way you start your day, and I would add a second, is the way you close your day. Whatever happens in between is what happens in between. Okay. We went on so many tangents. I love it. Okay. So I want to share a little bit about the two energetic timelines that we're on right now and the threshold that we're currently going through. We're in the final stage of shedding the year of the snake up until February 17th about. Energetic current. The door is already closed behind us. The year of the snake taught us, okay, old role, old identity, old way of being is no longer serving me. What used to protect me is now restricting me. I don't like it. I don't want it. Now it's done. Now, we're still in the shedding, so perhaps you're still going to feel some lingering triggers, and that's okay. This is recalibration. So rest, ground, nourish your body, take space for yourself, feel your emotions, take walks in nature, salt baths, warm soups, reflect, journal, whatever you need. Okay? Come mid-February forward, we're entering a new energy. Fire horse. This is going to be dynamic, expansive, and accelerated. This energy is very different from the snake energy, but we can see that the snake energy was a beautiful preparation. Because the horse doesn't want to carry heavy weight. It's like, we're going on a fucking adventure here. I don't want no weights coming with me to hold us back. So really be intentional with the final shed right now. So do cord cutting ceremonies. Burn your paper of what you're releasing. Ritualize it. Simple rituals. Candle ritual. Burn. Done. Clear out your closet. Clear out your inbox. Clear out clothes. Whatever reminds you of the old version of you, clear it out. Okay? And right now in the Northern Hemisphere, we're blessed with winter, which is an introspective season. It's a more yin season. We're really invited to go inwards. So we're supported by nature to clean out the shed, so to speak, so that we are creating from the new, come the new calendar year. Okay. And to add to that, if we want to look at the signs of the zodiac, we're in Capricorn season right now for about a month. So here is where we get to ground the spiritual and emotional insights that came in from the Great Shed, which was a lot of water and fire energy. And then we just went through Sag season, which was very like vision, widening horizons, optimism. Now Capricorn is like, all right, sunshine, earth energy, let's ground this shit and make this reality. And it's not about taking bold action now. Right now, we're still in the preparation phase. Okay? And I know you may think, but New Year's January 1st. Sure, if you want to celebrate New Year January 1st and mark that as a pivotal point in the turning of the year, great. But season-wise, the New Year's is actually towards Aries, the spring equinox, March 21st. And if you want to look at the Chinese zodiac calendar, it would be at the beginning, mid-February for the year of the fire horse. Choose which one you want to honor. You want to honor 3 of them? Honor 3 of them. Use 3 of them as these initiatory points where you're checking in with yourself. But by March 21st, this is really when the energy is going to be Aries. First, beginning, let's go, action, Mars. So Capricorn right now is like, okay, sunshine, like, you have dreams, you have visions, that's great. Let's build the structures right now. Let's build a foundation on which those dreams can actually come into fruition. Capricorn's ruling planet is Saturn. Saturn archetype is like the one that not many people like because it brings back responsibility, maturity. And the irony is that freedom lies in responsibility. Everybody wants to be free. But with freedom comes responsibility. So can I take responsibility of my own wellness, my own well-being, my mind's well-being, my emotions, my physical well-being, my spiritual well-being? What boundaries do I need to set? What people inspire me? What people don't inspire me? What places don't support me anymore? What environments reflect my becoming? What clothing reflects the woman I'm becoming? What daily practices do I want to devote myself to? And you get to choose that. I'm not going to be here being like, I can offer you suggestions like the early morning practice, but ultimately, look at your life circumstances. Maybe you have 5-10 minutes in the morning. That's perfect. So don't give me the excuse of no time, no money. These things are free. And they require little investment. Sure, if you have the 2 hours in the morning, go for it. Have a more elaborate practice, whatever that is for you. But really, foundation, my beliefs, my relationships, my daily practices, the environments that I'm in, that I choose to put myself in, that I am creating. My internal environment and my external environment. And ultimately, they mirror each other. So Capricorn is really offering us to bridge the mystical with the mundane. So that these insights that we're getting, these concepts, don't just stay as concepts. They actually become practical actions in my day-to-day life. Practical realignments. Okay? And I'm gonna share this again. Transformation usually doesn't come in raw energy. Jingles, bells, and be like, I'm here, this is me, blah, blah. Rarely, seldomly does this happen. It is much more subtle because it comes from within. I don't need to prove anything anymore. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You're already whole. It's from your energy, it's from your presence. And when we realize that we are whole, that we don't need anything, we can start enjoying life. This whole human experience is about enjoying life and creating heaven on earth. And I hear the people, you might say, well, look at what's going on in the world. And sure, you can choose to pay your attention and to place your attention and your energy on the news. Has that served you? Has it caused more anger? More sense of powerlessness? The world doesn't need saving. You need saving. And I say this in the most loving way. And actually, you don't even need saving. There's an illusion that you need saving, that you need healing. But that's a conversation for another time. Again, the lofty question, feel into it if this resonates. What if I'm already healed? What if I'm already whole? How would I move differently in my life? What if I already had the love I desired? What if I already had the money? What if I was already living the dream life that I want to create right now? And it's about bringing that energy into your everyday life. You don't need to go off on the retreat, on in the ashram. Of course, if you feel called to and it's authentic, for sure, go for it. But a lot of the times, people go out, they have the ceremony, illumination, insight, and then they come back, and when integration comes, which is Saturn energy, which is Capricorn energy, they're like easily falling back into old patterns because there's a lack of support. Maybe there's a re-traumatizing happening because they weren't properly held in that container. So this is what I offer. And I'm not saying come with me on all my journeys, and feel for you if you're excited to journey with me. I'd love to journey with you. But it's really about, well, what are my support systems now? Who supports me? What places support me? Where do I feel that I can share my vulnerability? This is the key to healing and to any transformation, is actually becoming vulnerable, first to yourself and then to another. Feeling safe enough to be vulnerable. Do you feel safe enough to be vulnerable? To share your truth? And it's okay if the answer is no. You could start there. Let's take another breath together. Exhale. Okay. Here are a few invitations to close off the year and also bridging into the Fire Horse year. And feel into these. Again, you keep what resonates and throw the other things away. No hard feelings, of course. Number 1, acknowledge first and celebrate what you've built so far. Review this year through growth, not just finished to-do lists. Who have you become? What have you learned about yourself? And if you want to extend the timeline, since we are in a 9-year cycle, look 9 years from now, which is about 2016. Number 2, clear the clutter. Again, if we're going to start anew, we can't have the old shit. So clear your closet, clear your inbox, clear any open loops, any conversations you need to have, clear them. Number 3, conscious self-care. Okay, let your nervous system recalibrate. We are creating cohesion and alignment in our body, in our mind and our body, not dissonance. A lot of anxiety is created by dissonance. Okay, in separation, we want to create cohesion and harmony within. So consciously carving out space to nourish yourself, whatever that looks and feels like for you. Maybe it's a salt bath. Maybe it's a forest walk. Maybe it's cooking yourself a warm soup. Maybe it's simple silence and stillness. And offering yourself moments of play and pleasure. The feminine loves to play. Maybe that's foreign language to you. So feel for you if you want to try it on. Number 3, identify your resources. Friends, mentors, maybe even a piece of clothing that reflects your becoming. A haircut. These are little symbols that are bringing you more into the embodiment of the woman you're becoming. In a more tangible way, resources are your external resources and your internal. It could also be a place. Maybe you go to the same tree. Maybe you have a place, a little sanctuary in your house. A place where you can meditate or come back to, or cry or journal. The most important resource you have is yourself. You are your best ally, so believe in yourself. Number 5, if you feel called to do this, create a vision board that you're going to place somewhere that you see a lot. You can write, you can draw, you can do collage, you can paint. You want to anchor into the energy that you want to feel more of in 2026, into the feeling. And the final one is offer yourself moments of connection. Okay? Especially now during the holiday season, it's too easy to go into stress, into resentment, into arguments, because it brings, for most of us, our families together, and within our family there's a lot of weird dynamics that happen. But remember that it's not about trying to change somebody or trying to show them your point of view. It's you becoming the change you wish to see. So if in the past you were not met with love or acceptance and you didn't feel connected, now you can embody that and offer yourself love and try it on. Be like, okay, well, for me in the past, I haven't really felt connected to my family. What if I tried on this suit that's like your connection suit, and I walked and moved through my day in embodying connection? What would I say differently? What would I do differently? Try it on. Make it playful. This is when you start noticing that when you change your frequency, when you stop reacting from a place of wounding, then you stop feeding the fire that perhaps is causing the conflict and chaos in this relationship. So again, Capricorn's like, let's bring in maturity, emotional maturity. Okay. And lastly, I want to offer just 3 simple reflection prompts that I'll drop also into the description of this episode to invite us to close 2025 with intention and open up to 2026. So number 1, what are you consciously choosing to close and release? Number 2, what energy are you stepping into as you move towards 2026? And number 3, what do you wish to nourish and embody more deeply in the year ahead? Beautiful. Thank you for your presence, for being here, and take a moment too to thank yourself for making it through this year's, for the last 9 years, for the whole cycle that you've been through. You're still here, you're still breathing, you're listening, you have a body, you have a loving family, and even if you don't think so, know that there's always love. There's always support. And the most important love and support is coming from within you. So here's to closing 2025 with gratitude and reverence, and opening 2026 with excitement and trust and truth. Would love to see you in the comments. Let me know what's resonating for you from this conversation. And stay tuned, because I have some beautiful offerings coming your way in 2026. Namaste.